7:34 here on News Radio WRVA. We immediately go to the WRVA Newsmaker Hotline. Joining us right now, local Congressman, former Navy SEAL, John McGuire, represents Virginia 5, joining us here on News Radio WRVA. Good morning, sir, and Happy New Year.
Hey, good morning. Happy New Year. It's not going to be a boring 2026, is it?
No, I thought we were going to be talking about the ACA subsidies that have expired, but with the story over the weekend, I wanted to get your thoughts this morning. So let's start with this. We just heard a soundbite of Chuck Schumer saying this is a violation of the law. Congress didn't give its approval. They weren't notified, is another big pushback that we got on the Sunday shows. So right off the get-go, let me ask you, what role does Congress play in this story of Nicolas Maduro being brought to the United States? And right now he's in a van on his way to federal court in New York.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen the Democrats this outraged since we took out Soleimani. And, when Obama was using American drones to kill an American citizen in Yemen, I wonder if these same people were protesting. Basically the president has 48 hours after an action to notify Congress, and he totally did that with his 11 a.m. Press conference on Saturday. And so he's fully within his rights. If you remember, under President Biden, his Department of Justice indicted Maduro back in 2020, and they had a $25 million price on his head. I believe it went to $50 million. And you think about Laken Riley, I mean, she's an innocent American girl who was killed by a Venezuelan gang member. You probably saw in Colorado where their gang members were cutting off fingers of American citizens in an apartment complex and taking over an apartment complex by gun. And it's the craziest thing in the world that when we find almost $9 billion in fraud in Minnesota, the daycares, now we're seeing in Washington State, Ohio, and other places, instead of being mad at the people that are committing the fraud, the Democrats are mad at the people that are finding the fraud. And when we put these murderers back on the street and they murder or hurt American citizens, instead of being upset with those criminals, they're upset with police for cleaning up D.C. and cleaning up Chicago. And now we got a guy who's been starving his own people. They've been robbing, raping, and killing the American people and sending their thugs into our country. And we actually have a president that puts the American lives first, and he's keeping us safe at home and abroad. And, of course, I can't believe it. And now the Democrats are defending a guy that starves his own people. It's just ludicrous, isn't it?
Well, I wanted to talk about something with you because we talked about earlier this year, actually last year, Governor Youngkin, working with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, took down a huge TDA cell that we had operating in Northern Virginia. The sheriff of Chesterfield County has told us there's TDA members that he has locked up in his jail. So what happens in Venezuela affects us here in Central Virginia. You had a statement this weekend and said, I've knocked on too many doors, seen parents break down in tears over the loss of their 18, 19, 20-year-old sons and daughters to overdoses. Hakeem Jeffries said there was no imminent threat to the United States that should cause the U.S. to take such action. I'm paraphrasing him. How do you respond?
Yeah, I think that's just ridiculous. And by the way, first of all, I got to just President Trump, our incredible military, our law enforcement, Rubio, Hegseth, just flawless. No lives lost, no equipment lost. But, yeah, I've knocked on doors. I'm talking about a big mansion in my district, a big house. And they said, we're moving to South Carolina. And I said, why are you moving to South Carolina? And they said, we're tired of being known as the family on the corner that lost our teenager to overdose. And as I knocked on 5, 6 more doors in a row, they all let me know that family on the corner lost their child. And then I was in a trailer court with this mobile homes. And this strong man who seemed very proud just was very quiet, but he just, you could see he was about to break down in tears. And all he could say was, my boy. And finally I realized that his boy overdosed and died from overdose. And so it doesn't matter if you've got money or don't have money. Almost 500,000 American citizens are dead since 2020 of overdose. That's more people than died in World War II. And almost more people die every year of overdose than died in Vietnam. And I don't know why every American's not banging up pots and pans at this crisis. Every life is valuable. Life is a miracle, and we must protect it. And thank God we have real leadership that is not going to fall for this fake woke ideology that's destroying our country and killing the American people.
Congressman John McGuire joining us here on News Radio WRVA. Let me go down that rabbit hole because I saw on social media you were attacked. I don't believe John McGuire that he went out knocking on doors and ran into all of these people. I know, just talking to you off air, one of the big things that you do that a lot of people don't know is how much time you spend in your district knocking on doors, going to meetings. I've seen you out and where people walk up to you while you're having lunch or doing something. Explain to folks how you have run across these people and under what circumstances knocking on doors, whether it's campaigning or just being in your community.
Yeah, these keyboard warriors, I don't know if they're from China or Russia or what, but if they're in the 5th Congressional District, people tell them, they ask me, I have 24 counties, and just about every county says, do you live in my county? And I go, why do you say that? And they say, because I see you more than any other politician. I put 245,000 miles on my truck around the district. I've been to almost 400 different churches, every tractor pull, every rodeo, and I go to businesses every day when I'm in the district, and I hear all the time, I've never met a congressman before. Look, I got a long ways to go. I haven't met everybody, but we've won. I guess the general election when we won almost 50,000 more votes than anyone ever won the district. Not because of me, but the grace of God. But I think an incredible team and knocking a lot of doors. I think so, and that's where I get the ideas for legislation. Like I don't know if we've discussed it yet, but the American Dream Act that we're
right. We talked about trying to. Yeah, we've talked about trying to find ways for people to buy homes that right now are priced out. I want to follow up on something. You are a freshman member of Congress. You're not supposed to be putting anything in the NDAAs. You're not supposed to be talking to the president. You're a freshman. You're supposed to be minding your P's and watching your Q's and staying out of everybody's way. But you have been out in front. So help me out because you haven't been in the swamp that long. I'm scratching my head. How do so many seemingly sane people look at what's gone on in Venezuela over the weekend and come away with such wild, different conclusions?
Yeah, it's just amazing. I think really is Trump derangement syndrome. If Trump cured cancer, the Democrats. Now, when I say the Democrats, whenever I say Democrats, I mean Democrat leadership, because we're all Americans, and most Americans don't understand the truth because the media is biased. So when I talk about the leadership, like the average American, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent, I just can't believe that more than 1% of Americans believe it's okay to play girls and boys sports. I just can't believe that. But the Democrat leadership, they are all in on these crazy ideas. They call them 80-20 policies, like an open border. I put a thing on Facebook recently that showed you the penalty to crossing the border in North Korea, Russia, Iran, and all these other countries. And they were and even Mexico. And then you look at the American open border policy under the Democrats. We welcome you. We give you free health care. We give you a pat on the back. And it's all, put you up in a $500 a night hotel at taxpayer expense. Most people in the 5th Congressional District, they can't afford a $500 a night hotel. And I saw a video where a veteran went to that hotel, and he's a homeless veteran. He said, can I get one of those rooms that are being paid for by taxpayer dollars for illegal aliens? They said no. And so it's America last. So I don't understand. When I say Democrats, I mean the leaders that are making these crazy decisions. Because as I'm all around the district, I'm talking to everybody. I don't know if they're Democrat, Republican, Independent. I just talk to anybody at any restaurant, wherever I go. And they think these ideas are insane.
You've been on, you're going to come on with me, and I know you'll probably be on with Jeff Katz this afternoon and other radio shows. You'll be asked to go on Newsmax TV and such. Is there anything that you've seen this weekend that we haven't addressed, or with all the coverage that people are missing, that something that you want people to know about when it comes to what's going on with Venezuela and the arrest of Maduro?
Well, I think it's a symptom of the problems. I mean, you look at Russia, China, Iran. They had terrorist cells being trained on an island just north of Venezuela. And, I mean, it's our hemisphere. President Trump made our hemisphere and made our country safer. And like I said, they said drugs trafficking on the open oceans is down 97%. It's peace through strength. President Trump sent a strong message that we are going to keep the American people safe at home and abroad, and you're not going to bring your terrorism to our hemisphere. And if you do it, you're going to pay for it. So he's a man of his word. He says what he means what he says. It's an honor to serve again in Congress. And by the grace of God, we'll keep doing that next year when we win our reelection.
Congressman, I appreciate you joining us. And just to remind everybody, Jennifer McClellan will be coming on the program in the next hour, so we'll get thoughts from both sides of the aisle just to make sure we give everybody the widest aperture so you get all the information you can. Congressman, a pleasure talking to you, and I'll catch up with you again real soon.
All right. God bless you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Congressman John McGuire, our guest here on News Radio WRVA. All right, coming up, like I said, we'll talk with Jennifer McClellan coming up here in just a moment. Actually, she's coming up at 8:30. We'll do the Richmond Morning News Brief coming up, and we move Brian Kilmeade back just a little bit, so Brian comes up at 9 o'clock this morning. Plus, we'll take your text messages all morning long, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140, as we broadcast live from the Commonwealth capital of Virginia, where WRVA has been the voice of Virginia for over 100 years. All right, let me tell you about the Pearson Signature Dealership Pearson Promise. All right, 2026. I bet you're going to do a lot of driving, right? Probably drive up to D.C. to see the Constitution and National Archives, maybe drive to a national park, probably drive to Williamsburg at one point, Yorktown. You're going to be driving around. This is going to be an amazing year here in the United States. In fact, I drove up on New Year's Day. I posted it on Instagram. I saw the Washington Monument all lit up. It was spectacular. You know what I didn't have to worry about? I didn't have to worry about my car. Why? Because I had it worked on by the folks over at Pearson Signature Dealership. See, when you get a Pearson Signature Dealership vehicle, and those that have understand that Pearson promise, only at Pearson Signature Dealerships do they double the engine and transmission warranty on new vehicles. That's why for almost 50 years, generations have trusted Pearson, and you can as well. Visit buypearson.com, whether you're looking for a Chrysler Jeep Dodge from Pearson Chrysler Jeep Dodge or Pearson Mazda on West Broad over in the West End, or Genesis of Richmond and Pearson Hyundai. They anchor the motor mile over the Midlothian Turnpike. Or if you're looking for a Honda from Pearson Honda on Hull Street over near Woodlake, there's a Pearson Signature dealership near you. Go online right now to buypearson.com.
Are you fed up with rising auto repair costs and fewer repair options? You're not alone. Big automakers are blocking local repair shops and drivers from making routine fixes, and that's driving up costs for American families. As automakers aim to control basic repair data, tools, and parts, it's becoming more costly, time-consuming, and sometimes impossible for trusted local shops to compete. Too many drivers are forced to go to manufacturer-controlled service centers where they'll pay 36% more on average. When you buy a car, it's yours. You should decide where it gets fixed, not big corporations. Thankfully, the Repair Act, championed by leading conservatives Dr. Neil Dunn and Senator Josh Hawley, would level the playing field. It will ensure equal access to needed repair information and tools, protecting jobs, hundreds of thousands of small businesses, and putting choice back in your hands. Your car, your call. Tell Congress to pass the Repair Act at carrepairchoice.org. Paid for by the Car Coalition.